Hi, this is Mike Fink, founder of Go Missions to Mexico. Welcome to our Culture and Ministry Orientation Meeting, Session 2. In our Cultural and Ministry Orientation session, if you're watching my video, this is Go Missions to Mexico, and we host a short-term mission team. So this is our second part, Session 2, in our Cultural and Ministry Orientation meeting. So we told you guys in the last session, give us a week of your life and we'll make you a millionaire. So right now, prepare yourselves to get rich real fast. Are you ready? In this particular area where we're at, the people make a lot less than what people do in the States. The area that we're in is a rural farming area where virtually probably 80% of everyone makes their living working in the fields. The products that are produced here, whether they be strawberries, whether they be cucumbers, whether they be strawberries, I said that, strawberries, or tomatoes, raspberries, all sorts of crops are produced, and guess where they all go? They all go to the wonderful United States of America. So that sometimes for us to get local produce down here, sometimes is a challenge because it's all going to our to the north. And we usually wind up with the seconds. We get the leftovers. The best way I can describe, not all of Mexico, but our part of America, our part of Mexico, is we get America's leftovers. Whether it be lumber, whether it be produce, a lot of things, we get the seconds. It's just the way it is. There's just not a lot of money here. So most of the people here work in the fields, and they will earn anywhere from around $6 to $8 a day. So they will make in a day what a person can make at minimum wage in an hour in the U.S. So people in the U.S. are making at least, just in an entry-level minimum wage job, they can make at least 10 times more than what a person down here can in the field. And it's hard work. Any of you work in the field, pick strawberries for a living? It's hard work, isn't it? It's hard work to be in bed over. A lot of the problems, they have a lot of back, physical problems, things of that nature. So they're earning about 1/10 of what you are. So in order to make you a millionaire, we're going to times everything that you purchase, not everything, a few things, by 10 to see what it would look like to you. So we're going to put you in their shoes. All right? And this is what life would look like to you if you were in their shoes. Now, we know that the person making minimum wage is making roughly 10 times more than the person in the field here working in Mexico. But most of us make more than minimum wage, right? Some of us are making 20 to 40, 50, a lot more than they are. But just for the ease of math, and this would just be the basic lowest level, I will times everything by 10. So on the way down, what you pay for a gallon of gas? Right now it's $4 at least. Okay? By 10, that's $40. It's $40 per gallon of gas. We're complaining about $4, right? What if it was $40? Be outrageous. You wouldn't be here, probably, if it was $40 a gallon. A gallon of milk. What's a gallon of milk cost in the States? $3.35. Okay, go to Walmart, $7.90, get two of them for $3, $3.35, whatever. Down here, there's one myth about Mexico. Everyone thinks that the cost of living in Mexico is less. Actually, everything but labor, you know, medicine, pills, and things like that nature, are generally higher. Food is generally higher unless it's locally produced. Lumber, building materials, all those things are higher. Cars, laptops, anything, any electronic device, a lot more expensive here in Mexico. So a gallon of milk here costs over $4 a gallon. Okay, so that would be $40 for a gallon of milk. How many of you would buy a lot of gallons of milk? Got any moms in here? How many gallons of milk do you buy for your family for a week, for the week? 4. 4 gallons for the week. Okay? On average, what would you say? 2, 3, 4 gallons per week? Okay, let's take 3 gallons, okay, just as an average, times 4, that's what it costs out here, that's $120 a week. No. Is that right? No. Okay? My math's a little off, pardon me, it is wrong. So 3 gallons a day would be $12. Okay, $4 times 3 is 12 times, well, 3 gallons a week, $12 a week, okay? Sorry about this, our math is a little challenge this morning. So $12 a week for milk times 4 is 48, right? So times 10 is $480, roughly $500 for just milk of your monthly food budget. Would you guys be buying that much milk? No. Eating out, you guys eat out on the way down, or fast food, what, $5? Times 10 is 50. When's the last time you have paid $50 for a meal anywhere? We can go out to very nice restaurants, Red Lobster, whatever. Armando took his wife out to Red Lobster. He paid $15. That was a 4-course special, all right? That was Red Lobster, all right? $50 to eat out of fast food is what it looks like to them. So life would be very different if you lived here. You could not have all of your luxuries. You would not have all of your laptops. You wouldn't have all of your vehicles. You wouldn't have your nice homes. You wouldn't have all electronic devices. You wouldn't have all the milk and all those kinds of things. You wouldn't go around as much. You wouldn't travel as much. Life would be very, very different for you. If you live in America, you are in about the top 5% of the nation's or the world's income bracket. Someone has said that America has roughly 4.8% of the world's population, but consumes, what do they consume? Anybody know what percentage of the world's resources? Someone said over half. I don't know exactly, but a lot. 4.8% of the world's population gets the bulk of everything. The truth is that if you live in North America, you live in the U.S., you live in Disneyland. You live in Disneyland. That's the truth. And Disneyland is great, but not all the world gets to live in Disneyland. And I believe, humbly said, I believe there's a couple of reasons why America is so blessed. I don't think it has to do so much with our natural resources. Other countries have as equal natural resources as America does. I think that it has to do with our godly foundation that was woven into our country. Our forefathers. Did you know in the original 13 colonies, this is a fact, you can go back to Williamsburg, Virginia, and go to the Living Museum. In America, in the 13 original colonies, that you were required to go to church one Sunday at least a month. If you didn't, you could be fined. That's a fact. Also, did you know to have to hold any public office, you had to be a member of a church and a member in good standing? Couldn't be just anything. You had to be in good standing. So we have this moral fabric. Do you know that in England, where the colonies came from, that England was the first of the European countries, and basically the only European country that embraced Protestantism. Can't say the word. And King Evangelical. And in fact, it was King James who ordered the writing of the first large English translation. So that's our roots. That's why God has blessed us. But not all the world gets to live in Disneyland. So if you're living in Mexico, life is very, very different. For my wife and I now to go to San Diego, go to the States, is really a big deal for us now. Just to go to San Diego, I mean, that sounds kind of stupid, but just to go to San Diego is kind of a special deal for us because there's nice restaurants there, there's a lot of shopping there. You can have all the money in the world, but there's nothing really to buy unless you go to a secondhand store and want to buy secondhand stuff. There's just not a lot of stuff to buy. Even if you have the money. There's not really a big selection of restaurants because there's just, there's just not the money. So, you are virtually in a country where nothing is as good as in the U.S. Housing. Your homes back home, most of your bedrooms are as big as a lot of their homes. Nothing is good. Clothes are a lot less expensive, and a large variety in the U.S. America is able to spend more money on what we call discretionary spending. That means money that's not obligated. Of course, the economy the way it is, a little less now, but less money than any other country on the basics of life. So we have more money to spend on fun, play, things of that nature. Education. In Mexico, in our area, grade school is free, but you have to get there. No yellow buses coming around to pick you up to get you to school. And there'll be no policeman, or there'll be nobody to make sure your child gets on the bus safely, gets off correctly. You got to get there. You got to get to school. Grade school is free. Junior high is tuition based. You have to pay to go to junior high. You have to pay to go to high school. The population in our area, the people that will go finish grade school, is roughly around 80 to 90% if you finish grade school. Finish junior high, you're looking at about 68%. Finish high school, listen to this, 10% or less finish high school. The amount of people who go to the university or college, 5% or less. Education is expensive, and sometimes it's double whammy. If you're going to school, you're a liability to your family. You could be out working, you could be earning a living. So it's a lot less. So roads, anything off the beaten track. This highway here is our main highway. Anything off that is dirt roads. And every man for himself. When it rains down here, it's Mudsville. And all the mud gets on the highway, and then your vehicle, when it's raining, we just stay off the road. It's just atrocious. Medical attention. Mexico has some socialized medicine, and the government pays some, and some people pay some. Anyway, the long story is that medical attention is very poor, generally, and it's hard to get in long lines for medical attention. We have doctors that come down and say, no, we've never seen diseases so advanced. We've had dentists, I have a dentist here with us right now, and last week we were here and saw a lot of stuff that in the States you don't probably see, right? Now, just because it's expensive, and oftentimes the hospitals aren't a full-service deal. If I have a medical problem, I have to go somewhere else to get exams, x-rays, MRIs, or whatever, things of that nature. So medical attention is very poor as well. So oftentimes for these people, God is their only hope. Because the governments fail them, the medical systems fail them, they don't have all this stuff, and so God is often their last hope. So anyway, how many of you have just gotten wealthy real quick? This is my humble opinion. If I were the President of the United States, if there was one law that I could pass, I would. I would be somewhat serious about it. It never happened, but I think it would be a good law. And that is that in order to graduate from high school, I think it would be good, beneficial, for each person to have to go to a third world country on a mission trip. Why? It's no fault of our own. We who live in the States, it's not our fault. We're just extremely blessed. But it's good for us to get out and see how the rest of the world lives. What you're going to see this week is normal. This is normal. We have to, purified water. We just don't turn on the faucet and we have water. We have to get purified water. We can't take all the showers we want. There's water rationing because there's just not enough water. We don't have all of our cars. We can't eat. To eat meat is a luxury, really. So it's good for us to leave Disneyland, to see how the rest of the country lives. Then when we go back to Disneyland, we really appreciate Disneyland, don't we? We're very grateful. So oftentimes, because we grow up in a bubble, so to speak, and we don't see how the rest of the world lives, because this is normal. When you go in China, India, Thailand, South America, Middle East, this is normal. This is normal. This is how the majority of the world lives. So it teaches us gratefulness. It teaches us to appreciate all that we have. And it helps us to understand that if we live in America, we are extremely blessed, and we have a lot of stuff. Okay? So, everybody just got richer real quick, right? Right. And now we are extremely grateful. Okay, great. Well, moving along, one of the things we have to understand about our money, especially when we come into a culture that doesn't have money, is everyone thinks that you are now, we're just going to give you a name change, all right? Ready for a name change? Your name is now Bill Gates. Okay? Bill Gates. Everybody knows who Bill Gates is, all right? Microsoft, billionaire. Anyway, it's like Bill Gates now just showed up. And to them, you are wealthy. You might not think you are wealthy. You might think, oh, gee, this economy is bad, my home's worth less than But you know something, generally, the problems we're having aren't affecting some of the basics of life. They're not affecting our food. We're probably getting enough to eat. In fact, we're probably being food conscious or weight conscious, right? I'm trying to watch my weight and all those things. So problems not touching what the Bible calls the essence of survival, which is food and shelter. Okay, so we're extremely, extremely blessed. But here we are in this country that has far less. So now we are very, very wealthy in their eyes. So Bill Gates just showed up, and it's not their fault, but they might want to see how Bill Gates can help them. So you just have to understand that while you're here this week, that some people might approach you to see how you can help them. All right? Children, we'll start with them first. They generally are, pretty simple. They'll just come up and ask you, "Me da un dólar, me da un peso, and give me $1, and give me peso, and give me something." All right? And we encourage you to just give your money to the children, because they're going to go home and put that in the bank and use it for their college fund. Okay, so they go to college one day, right? Joke, wrong, no. They're going to go as fast as they can, bang, run down to the closest store and buy them a dulce, piece of candy. Okay? Now, they don't brush your teeth like they should, so you really haven't helped them. Each one of you can give 100 children $1 this week. You haven't really solved any problem, okay? Also, we don't encourage you to just give money to the children, because it teaches them to be beggars. All right? And it also devalues you, and in their eyes, then you get this equation that, Americans that come down, money, and so when they see you, they kind of see dollars and things of that nature. And sometimes they don't appreciate who you are and the spiritual things that you want to give them as well. So we don't encourage you to give just throw money to children. Now, young adults and things, they will approach you a little bit differently. They will always usually try to make a friendship first, and then they will ask you for some needs, or ask you to help them with some of their needs. It might be their home, might be medical, might be different things that they have. We want to encourage you to run some of those needs through some filters, okay? Because not all of the needs that might be shared are genuine needs. Okay, there might be things that come up that are manufactured, invented. We've got a lot of different things happening. We tell you stories all day long. Understand it's just the nature of the way it is. You're wealthy, they don't have much, they're going to try to see how you can help them. So we use a few filters. So if something comes up, please let us know. Okay, and we'll just verify that, talk with the pastor, and talk with the situation, just kind of verify that it is a legitimate need. Because what we don't want to do is reward people that are lying or making things up or things of that nature. Okay? Americans are wonderful people, and sometimes we are generous to a fault. America gives more money in the world than any other country. But sometimes we're a little naive, bless our hearts. Sometimes we don't really understand some things. So we don't want to allow our money to be leveraged in some regards against us. We don't want to create a welfare scenario. We don't want to make people where they're just dependent, things of that nature. So we want to use our money wisely. I want you to know that especially chosen churches that you guys are going to, that a good portion of your mission trip fees has gone to provide the materials. So you guys are doing a lot. Okay? You're helping out with all the construction projects that are going on. Of course, your VBS that you're doing and things of that nature. So we're blessing the children. Will get their crafts and snacks each day. At the end of the week, they'll get their prizes and things for that nature for memorizing verses. So we're going to be blessing them. We want to do that appropriately. We just don't want to go into an area where we're destroying money out and not careful about that. So if something comes up this week, please let us know. We'll just engage a few filters so that we're using your money as good as possible. Okay, great. All right, another of the differences regarding church is how church is done down here. Okay, now we're going to start talking a little bit more about how church is done. We'll talk about our community outreaches or EDS and things of that nature. But church is very different in our area. Church in our area, for one, is a lot louder. Why? Because there's this kind of underlying rumble or chaos that's happening all the time. We haven't learned that when when we go sometimes to a public place, that it's proper to keep our children quiet and all these things. And also, we don't have all the programs for all of our children. We don't have all the children's church or Sunday school or all those things. The kids are kind of just in the church with us. Kids are making noise, children are playing on the floor, they might be doing whatever. So there's this low rumble that's kind of always going on. We call it this low-level chaos. It's always going on. So we just turn up the volume. Not our idea. It's what they do down here. We just do it as well. That's just what you do. So understand church will be a lot louder down here. Also understand groups have a lot of misconceptions during their VBS, like the Bible stories and things. They're thinking, man, the kids aren't paying attention like they should. They are. It's just to understand there's just kind of this low-level chaos going on. So you might not think they're paying attention, but they're getting it. Okay, so just take that into consideration with those things. So this week, make sure that you turn everything up, like your testimonies, whatever you're doing, talk loud. Make sure that people can hear you and whatever you're doing. Just understand if things are a little bit louder than normal, that's just how we do it. I can remember after I've been down here the first year, we went back to our home church and we were at church there, and the whole service I'm trying to clean out my ears and couldn't figure out why I couldn't hear. Well, I just got accustomed to things being really loud. So I went back to what was normal, just like, man, this seems like it's kind of quiet. So talk loud. Also, down here at church, most of the pastors don't have the privilege of being full-time. Most of them have to work outside their church to survive. The church doesn't make enough money to pay the pastor. They'll give them a little bit, but most of the pastors it's volunteer, a lot of volunteer, and then they work outside the church. They also don't have, like I mentioned, they don't have youth groups. They don't have, for the junior high group, they don't have a college age group. They don't have a singles group. They don't have a young marrieds group. They don't have a 20s, 30s group. They don't have a seniors group. They don't have a children's group in a church. They don't have a preschool. They don't have nursery. They don't have all the myriad ministries that our wonderful churches back home or in the States provide. All right? So they just don't have all that. So understand everybody's just together. And for you to do a BBS is a big thing because they don't get a BBS. They don't get all this special thing, and they don't get Bill Gates coming down to just focus on them and play with them. And how would you feel if some big movie star or idols kind of showed up and said, "Hey, I want to hang out with you for a week. What do you want to do?" He's like, "Whoa, I don't know. I'm paralyzed. You can't even think." So anyway, for these children, for you to come up and be with them is really special to them. But most of the pastors, like I mentioned, have to work outside. So at the end of the week, we're going to give you the special opportunity to take up an offering to help out the pastor. Okay, because this week he's not going to be able to be out working like he normally is, because he's going to be with you. So, if we didn't help him out, it would be like the costing would be kind of a hardship on him because he's not able to do his job. He's taking off work for a week to, attend some friends or family or something. It's great, but you got to live too. So, anyway, we'll be allowing you to do that at the end of the week for that, for the pastors. Another thing, difference in Mexico and in churches is people are a little bit more engaged. Sometimes, they lift their hands as motions go with songs. Basically, just look around, what everybody else is doing, do that as well. Also, people usually come to the altar, kneel down and pray a lot more, a lot of times before church starts. So if before church starts, you're in the back of the church kind of hanging out, trying to be sensitive to people who might be coming to the church to pray. All right, in this culture down here, church is more like in the Old Testament. It's kind of a holy place. So they come and kneel at the altar to pray and get right with God. And then also at the end of church, a lot of times there's altar calls given, and they come up front to be prayed for. The people down here love to be prayed for. Once again, because a lot of times it's their only hope. That's why our prayer and visitation ministry is so crucial, because you actually go into homes and pray for people. And it's really special to do. So you'll see a lot of interesting things this week. So anyway, people are a lot more expressive, go to the altar, things more down here in Mexico. So just be sensitive to those things. Also, during the church and community outreaches, sit to the back of the church, because for church out here, for the singing time, everyone stands. you don't sit there and sing. Everyone stands, and you'll be standing for that. And after that, you'll be coming up front to do your participation. You'll do your a couple songs, hopefully Spanish. Then you'll do a puppet show. We have all that, all the puppets and all that. And then some testimonies. We'll be doing that, and after that, we'll be going back, sitting back down again, standing in the back. Then we'll be letting the church, the children out for the first VBS, for our first community outreach tonight. So the children will go for the VBS, and most of you will be with them. So you won't be sitting much this during the community outreach. So if you would, stay in the back of the church, and if their seats available, great. But if not, and someone else comes in, defer your seating to them if you would. Stand up and let them sit down. So I really appreciate all those efforts. So should mention also that in Mexico, here in this culture, everyone prays at the same time. Back home, when we pray, someone prays, and we all kind of pray in our hearts, listen along. But down here, everybody kind of prays. There'll kind of be a leader, but then everybody else generally joins in and prays as well. That's really important when you go into people's homes praying for them, because they want to be prayed for, and if you don't say anything, it's like, no wonder they're not praying for me. To you, it will seem weird to pray out loud. Just pray in English out loud softly. It will seem weird to you, because that's out of your norm. But down here, it's weird if you don't do it. Okay, so for you, it might seem weird, but then it's normal. Once again, it's all about what's normal to them and what's normal to us. So make sure that you pray out loud. Great. Also, what we'll do now is we'll talk about our VBS. We just talked about our community outreach, some of the guidelines for the community outreach. Now we'll talk about the VBS. The VBS normally will start outside with a playtime, and that draws a lot of people. Tonight we won't have a playtime because it's a community outreach, and we'll kind of start more in the church facility, okay? And then the children will be involved in singing with everybody, so we won't do that. Plus, our time is a little bit shorter. We won't be doing a full VBS tonight. The full VBS has a playtime of around 15, 20 minutes, gather a crowd. Then we move indoors or sit somewhere, and we have the singing time, 5 or 6 songs, majority upbeat, and maybe one at the last to kind of calm them down. Then we have the puppet show, and we have testimonies, and we have a Bible story via big screen TV, DVD. Then we have the crafts and snacks. Then at the end we pick up all of our trash after. So we'll just kind of walk together. Tonight we'll be having the actual game time. Okay, that will be Monday through Thursday in the afternoon. So tonight we'll start off after the mid part of the community outreach. We'll be taking the kids out. The majority of you then will go with the children. If you want someone to stay in, we'll be showing an evangelistic movie on the big screen for the adults. But some of you want to stay in for that. Usually the first VBS isn't as big as the Monday through Thursday in the afternoons. They're a little bit smaller in nature. So tonight we'll be starting off with probably not even really maybe a song or two. Then we'll go into the puppets. Now the puppet shows are very, very easy to do. And here in a little bit, we'll be practicing with you guys to do your puppet shows for tonight. We'll do 2 puppet shows, one for the adults, the community outreach, and one for the children, the VBS. The puppet shows are really easy. We have all the puppets, we have the boom box, all the media, the puppet show in Spanish on the DVD. So we basically play the DVD, and you'll just follow along with that. So it's really quite simple. Basically, it's just voice recognition, and we'll be back behind the stage, kind of coach you along with that. Your testimonies, for the community outreach, we'll need 2 testimonies, and then for the VBS, we'll need 2 testimonies. So for the total this week, we'll need somewhere in the neighborhood of about 14 to 16 testimonies. Now, testimonies are awesome. They're a special way. In fact, they are the best way to share Christ with people, because your testimony puts you on the same equal footing or plane as another person. Because sometimes people think that Christians just kind of drop out of heaven, somewhere, and in this balloon that kind of came down. There's always been these, Christian people. So a testimony helps them to identify, oh, I see, this person was like me at some point in time. Okay, I can relate to that. And then the story is how I came to know Christ, and then briefly what Christ did in my life after I became a Christian. So when we look at a total of 14 to 16 short testimonies, 3 to 5 minutes. We'll be speaking to an interpreter, so understand you need to speak in short phrases. Don't do a paragraph at a time, short phrases. That helps the interpreter. And basically, your testimony, hopefully, is it written out? It's best to write them out. That way you can just follow along, because sometimes you get up in front of people, you might get a little bit nervous. Also, speaking to an interpreter is a little bit different, so you can actually kind of see where you're at and follow along. It kind of keeps you on track. So your testimony is really special, and it'll be exciting to be able to do that. Then the Bible story, I already mentioned that via the big screen. We'll be doing that. Understand that we would like you for your seating to sit in the U form in the VBS. That's along the sides and the back. Sit with the children. Don't be isolated. Sit with them. Your goal is to make relationships this week. Sit with them, but the sides and the back. Because if you sit in the T form, the center and the front, then you're bigger than children, and they can't see over you. So you want to give them the best seat. So sit with them, but generally along the sides and the back. Okay? And then also understand that because almost everything is in Spanish, and you might not speak Spanish that well, things might seem boring to you. So what's an easy thing to happen is to get involved with your child during the BDS, especially during the important key teaching times like puppets, like testimonies, like the Bible stories, when truth is being presented to these children. When we present the BDS, it's carefully thought out. It has a theme that goes through it. Starts off with creation, Noah, the flood, Moses, the life of Christ. So it kind of presents kind of an overview of the Bible's teachings. And then the puppet shows teach the very clear plan of salvation, how to receive Christ. Okay? And each day there's a memory verse that goes with it. And we'll be working on that. So during these key teaching times, it's easy because you might not speak Spanish to get involved with your child when your child is not paying attention. Because, hey, they've never sat on the king or queen's lap, and I don't want to look at your earrings and your hair and all this stuff about you. The child does. And sometimes you can't understand, so you're kind of engaged with the child. So it's during those times you want to watch yourself and try to help the VBS run smoothly by keeping everybody's attention focused. You know how to tell a child in Spanish how to be quiet and watch what's happening in front? I'll teach you guys how to do it. You ready? You guys can all do that, right? I have a friend who said, I'm going to write a book, how to speak Spanish, fluent Spanish in 10 words or less. Okay, the majority of it is hand motions, all right? So, during those times, you keep your child focused up front. And then after the Bible story, we'll have the crafts and snacks, and that's a very important time. And we'll ask you to form, sit either on the floor or the benches and the seats, but try to form groups of 10 or less. And hopefully your BBS crafts and snacks are packaged in groups of 10 or less. So just take your children. Hopefully there's enough for like maybe 2 people of you per group, and have the Mexican children just sit on the floor and just make groups all around. Then have a couple people dedicated to handing out the crafts and snacks to the groups, obviously to you and not the children, and give it to you guys, and you guys disperse it to the children. So 10 or less, and if you have like, let's say one group has 15, one group has 5. Among yourselves, just kind of be out and about looking, and if you need to escort some children, to even out your groups, go ahead and do that, but you go with them and kind of escort them, don't just send them off. That will make them feel bad. Also understand that a lot of times, children are taking care of children, siblings taking care of siblings. So you can't break up a little family unit, okay? Little, Susie got in charge of her little brothers, but she can't leave her brothers. Mom and dad said, don't leave your brothers. So just be understanding of that. So anyway, get the groups all settled, and you can give them their crafts and snacks. And then we found that over the years, the small groups of 10 or less is best for crowd control, especially with the large VBS. You can have a riot on your hands, all right? Sometimes my wife, she's the queen of the VBS. she'll maybe, maybe for giving out the snacks, you might make a single file at the end and hand them out as you go through the door. There might be a little bit of variations, but generally what we do is we have them seated in groups of 10, hand out the crafts and snacks, hand out the crafts and snacks to you, the leaders of the groups, and then you'll give out, start off with a craft. Okay, if there's a craft that needs to be explained up front, we can do that in Spanish or whatever. And then so they get going on their craft. And then when there's nothing else in life that matters but their craft, and they're fully engaged in their craft, then that's a great time to give them their snack. Make sure each child is aware they got their snack. Because if you just sit there and they're just lost in their craft, and somebody else grabs their snack, then that can be a problem. So make sure that each child is aware, kind of make some eye contact for your snacks. At the end of the VBS, then pick up the trash. Their tendency is just throw it down. So pick up after them and try to leave the place like it was and clean up after them. So that is that's the VBS portion. Then, of course, the Monday through Thursday, the big VBSs, they'll start off with the game time, moving indoors, with singing, full-blown singing, puppets, testimonies, Bible story, and then the crafts and snacks. So, super. All right, the next important thing is this week is that understand that you guys all brought your cameras and things of that nature. That's super. Just be careful that we don't create some wrong impressions with our camera. And we're taking pictures kind of like a paparazzi type of deal. Try to take pictures discreetly, especially if you're in a setting like the community outreaches. That's kind of a sensitive time, because if you're taking pictures and everybody's clicking their cameras, when let's say part of you are doing the puppet show, everybody else is clicking planted cameras, sometimes we can impart some confusing messages. The church might think, oh, I see you guys are tourists. You guys are on a tourist trip and all that, I see. Or they might say, oh, I see, it's about you guys. It's not about us, it's about you guys, what you're doing. So just be careful of those things. If you take pictures, take them discreetly. Also understand if you go into people's homes and things of that nature, if you don't know them and you start taking pictures, they might interpret that as, oh, I'm poor, or I'm weird, or something's wrong about me, and they might have their feelings hurt. Always make certain, especially with individuals, older people, you have a little bit of a relationship or whatever to take a picture. And then usually after there's a little relationship, they're just on, oh, you want a picture of me? Wow. That's impressive. The children sometimes think it's fun when you're in the VBSs, take your camera and take a picture of it, show it to them on your screen there. They think that's pretty cool. So, anyway, just be careful about your pictures and things of that nature. Also, should mention during the VBSs, be careful not to swing kids and maybe like the piggyback rides that are on top and you do the camel races and stuff like that. You might put through the door with a child on top like that. Swinging, you could be swinging your child. They're in Disneyland. Things are the greatest rides that's have been created. But a 2-year-old child walks by, and you'll have children in your VBSs all the way from 2 to 3 up to 12, 13. So here comes this little 3-year-old child walking by, whang! It's followed by this 12-year-old's foot flying by. So just be careful of some of those different things. So great. Well, this concludes the session 2 of the cultural and ministry orientation meeting. So I want to thank you for your time, and God bless you. This should be a great week. We're looking forward to a special time together.